it is shameful to see Republicans themselves, standing up for the job creators. But when it comes time to attack somebody who might take them out in a nomination battle, they're going to pile on the job creators. The same concepts they're defending at one rally, they're beating up on at another rally. Why do you think people out in the ether say to themselves, well, what's the real difference between Republicans and Democrats? When they see this kind of mixed message, the mashing up of the narrative. Tim is a rich guy, and he writes an essay today called Rich is the New Gay. I'm just going to read. It's okay to hate them for who they are. It's okay to vandalize their property, taunt them, seize their assets, deny them government benefits, make them register and buy a license to practice their alternative lifestyle. You can hound them at their workplace. You can bully them in schools. You can picket their homes. You can send them death threats with impunity. You can occupy public buildings for months on end, chanting bad things about them. Rich is the new gay. It's no longer permissible in our civil society to hate based on skin color, gender, ethnicity, religion, disability, or sexual preference. But wealth, that's a free fire zone. Wealth is evil. Capitalism is sodomy. Free enterprise is lewd and lascivious conduct. Wall Street is the new Castro Street, only it's okay to light it on fire. Even Newt Gingrich feels free to tee off on Mitt Romney for being, gasp, too rich. Think Ellen reefing on Elton John to win George Michael's vote. You can say the most hateful things imaginable about rich people. Even the president does it. Cheered on by a wealthophobic media. Imagine how the fur would fly if a president blamed all his failures on homosexuals, or if he expressed support for violent mobs rioting in the streets, if it were the 3.6% instead of the 1% whose heads are demanded on a poll. The left-right paradigms for wealth and sexual preference are pretty much the same. Liberals insist that material preference is assigned at birth. Conservatives believe it's a choice. Closet richos like Michael Moore and Obamas possess the same self-loathing false piety as Ted Haggard or Larry Craig. Their response to being outed is loud, angry denial, wide stance or a baseball cap. The disguise doesn't fool anyone. The rich even have their own transgendered equivalents, the trans-wealthered, I suppose, who have crossed over from the poor side to the rich side. I don't think the abuse hurled against Herman Cain was because he was black. It was because he was black and refused to stay poor. To the haters, that is one sick puppy. Tim Tebow, even worse. Openly rich, openly humble, openly Christian. Totally unforgivable. I can't explain the liberals' reflexive hatred of wealthy people. Perhaps they're guilty the way their own leaders have enriched themselves, like Obama or Corzine, Soros, Pelosi, Kennedy, Gore, Trumka, Jackson, Hillary, the pork belly worshiper. If all you know is swindling and influence peddling, then maybe that's all you can imagine. Whenever I say something nice about rich people in a column, I can count on a deluge of angry comments and personal attacks. The number of things haters guess wrong about me reveals a prejudice so deep-seated it can't be tempered by reason. The last acceptable negative stereotype is the rich white guy, presumptively unethical, presumptively privileged, presumptively unaccomplished, and undeserving. People who hate rich people don't like it when I credit rich business people for improving our living standards. They say the only reason rich people ever improve products, workplace rules, and the environment is because unions or governments force them. Rich people are inherently evil and greedy, and left to their own devices would poison us and starve us to death because they can't help themselves. They're rich people. But let's think about that. The government only forces them to pay their workers an average of $7.25 per hour, and yet private employers pay a median wage of $21.20 per hour. Why would they do that? Who makes them do that? Not the unions. Only 7% of private sector employees choose to be represented by unions. How is it possible that rich people would voluntarily pay poorer people triple what the law requires? And government doesn't force any employer to provide benefits either. Yet the average private sector employee receives about $17,000 worth of benefits from his evil rich employer. Health insurance, holidays, how about vacation days? Again, nobody forces rich people to pay you to take time off to be with your family, but they do it anyway. Want more? Tuition reimbursement, retirement savings matches, private loans, contributions to charities, service on community boards, partnering with schools and government agencies, funding recreation, funding the arts and museums. Show me the law that the progressives passed that makes rich people do any of it. Or tell me what union went out on strike until the employer agreed to build a soccer field for inner city kids or fund scholarships for girls in non-traditional careers. Which one traded a wage increase for increased funding of the Boys and Girls Clubs or junior achievement? That's what the owners do all the time, into the billions. Some employers' subsidized cafeterias are the only decent meals their employees will eat during the week. Nobody made them do that. They wanted to starve the poor, remember? Poison their water, take away their health care, shut down the schools for their kids, hate women and stuff like that. And yet, employers are offering free mammograms instead. Do you think that executives must sit on civics boards under some court-ordered community service sentence? It's like the Huber Law. We get a pass to get out of work to do it? Why would rich people give so much of their time and money to the poor, the sick, and the disadvantaged if they really hated them as much as liberals say we do? Most rich people I know used to be a lot poorer than most of the people I know calling them names now. Now that I think about it, most people I know calling them names have never been poor a day in their life. Not really poor. The average American worker earns 20 times as much as the average worker in the world's bottom quintile. That's a lot bigger a guilt gap than between our worker and his CEO today. What does that prove? That American workers are even more greedy and selfish than the dreaded CEO? No, it proves that we're a very productive country, top to bottom in the working class. And yes, business owners work their tail off too. Rich is the new gay, so go ahead and hate it if you must. But remember this, gay people can't make you gay, but rich people can make you rich. That is, if you quit screaming at them long enough to ask them how they did it. That is how most of us trans-wealthered people started our rise on the updraft. We just shut up and listened. Why can't the Republicans say that? Look, the reason why we have the things that the liberals claim we must have, safety nets, charity, all of these wonderful programs, scholarships, is because those rotten, evil, greedy, rich people are there to provide the resources to fund them. And when Newt Gingrich attacks Mitt Romney for doing the stuff that we all hope everybody does, to lift the boats of others, why would anyone tolerate that as a line of an attack? And why would anybody listening to a Republican make that line of attack believe that the Republicans were any more ideologically pure